Lina really wanted a simple life, but she's determined to get revenge from people who killed her dad. She tries to stay away from the bad stuff, but then she gets mixed up with this powerful person named Furie, who controls all the crime stuff in Paris. Every time she tries to seek justice for her dad, she gets deeper into trouble. Along the way, she meets some unexpected friends and faces tough choices. As Lina struggles to make things right, she learns that the journey to make things better isn't straightforward. Sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones we fight inside ourselves. In Paris, 1999, we meet an assassin named the Furie, a tough woman deep in the crime world. She fights her way through an underground passageway, shooting and killing her targets easily. Fast forward to the present, Lina is living life on the edge with her partner Ellie, a cop, despite her criminal parents disapproving. Everything seems fine until her birthday takes a dark turn. Mr. Laroche, the banker, freezes her account because Lina's father is a notorious figure in the Parisian underworld. At her birthday celebration, a gunshot kills her father, leaving Lina devastated. She is locked in a vault, witnessing the tragedy unfold. Later, she finds herself in jail, accused of her father's murder, while her mother survives. Struggling to survive behind bars, Lina's fiery temper lands her in solitary confinement. But she finds a book on self-defense in the library, transforming her into a stronger woman. After months in prison, Lina is released but finds her mother suffering from amnesia. Determined to seek justice for her father, Lina sets out to follow the money trail. Meanwhile, the Furie learns that Lina is after her and adds her photo to her wall of targets. Lina finds herself in a dangerous gambling game, where losers lose more than just money. Despite causing a scene, Lina catches the attention of Orso, the game's organizer, who becomes intrigued by her. Lina receives over 200 texts from Ellie, who anxiously waits for her to contact him. Eventually, she agrees to spend the evening celebrating her birthday with him. However, in the middle of the night, Lina leaves a note for Ellie, explaining that they need 48 hours before starting over. With a plan to draw out the Furie, Lina discovers that the money is being moved using rubbish trucks. She creates a distraction and jumps onto one of the trucks from a bridge. Despite causing a crash, Lina decides not to take the money but instead plants a GPS tracker on the vehicle. The fixer becomes aware of Lina's actions. While Lina deals with the tracker being destroyed, she faces Fixer's goons across the river. Lina holds her ground and defeats two of the men. However, she realizes that a blonde woman who gave her a cookie earlier is actually the Furie herself, who knows about Lina's plan and the criminal gangs involved. Following the clues, Lina ends up at the Furie's hideout. She discovers files about her family hidden in a wall compartment and a locked crate, which she opens with bolt cutters. Unfortunately, Ellie's message alerts the Furie to Lina's presence. It is revealed that the Furie has been manipulating Lina's actions since her time in prison, with the inmate Lina fought planted by the Furie. The Furie believes Lina is working for someone else, not realizing she is acting independently. However, it becomes clear that the Furie did not kill Lina's father, leading to questions about a criminal underworld war involving someone named Jellyfish. When the fixer arrives, Lina tearfully confirms that she now works for the Furie. The Furie introduces Lina to the criminal world of Paris, taking her to a restricted greenhouse where the main crime figures gather. They meet the Californian, the Trans, Fama, Mama, and the K brothers, but the main focus is on the Jelly, who is mysteriously missing from the meeting. While the Furie meets the group alone, the fixer warns Lina about the dangers of getting involved with these criminals. Mr. Parquez, the head of underworld assassins, arrives and demonstrates his brutality by breaking a worker's fingers, leading Lina to intervene and find herself in a dangerous situation. The Jelly's body is delivered to the Furie in pieces, ruling him out as a suspect in his own murder. The Furie saves Lina from her predicament, and they investigate Jelly's murder together. Lina struggles to handle the gruesome task and seeks refuge at Ellie's place for the night. However, she oversleeps, causing her to be late for a meeting with Selma. Selma begins training Lina to become like the Furie, but they also focus on uncovering the truth behind Darius and Jelly's deaths. CCTV footage shows Jelly leaving Mama's brothel with a mysterious girl, leading them to investigate Mama Land, Mama's territory. Lina infiltrates the brothel, posing as one of Mama's new girls. Alone inside, Lina searches for the girl in Mama's archives but faces difficulties among the numerous files. Mama returns and senses something amiss but remains unaware of Lina's actions. Lina maintains her composure, seizing an opportunity to gather information before escaping. During her getaway, Lina is hit by a car driven by Keita, the cop who previously arrested her. Keita warns Lina to stay away from her investigation and demands Lina work for her to retrieve the stolen documents. As Lina deals with the aftermath of her actions, the fixer conducts his own investigation, snooping around Ellie's place and Lina's mother's house. He discovers childhood photos of Lina that could be crucial evidence. Meanwhile, Orso, the man from the casino, confronts Lina one night, but she stands her ground against him. The next morning, Selma awaits Lina, ready to continue their mission. They uncover the identity of the girl from Mama's brothel, Asma, and track her to a junkyard where her father is being held captive. A brawl ensues as they attempt to reach a caravan containing schematics for a key to a safe, revealing the involvement of Asma's father in the jelly. The fixer provides Furie with information to pressure Lina, including her connection to Ellie. Furie threatens to harm Ellie if Lina doesn't cooperate. Lina, torn between her loyalty to Ellie and her mission, decides to end things with him to keep him safe. In a heartbreaking scene, Lina leaves the bar with tears in her eyes as the Furie's associate watches solemnly. A post-credit sequence hints at a grave for Lina, raising questions about her fate. We are introduced different crime families, including Selma's family, known as one of the most feared. However, an assassination attempt against the Aragos family led to Selma's parents being killed. In the aftermath, the Godfather family emerged under the name of the Olympus, with Darius passing the title of Furie down to Selma. In the present, Lina is urged to follow Selma after she attacks a bar, leaving a trail of bloodshed behind. Selma explains to Lina that they're after something called the Bible of the Six, a powerful artifact that could destroy Olympus if it falls into the wrong hands. This clarifies the importance of the stolen safe. Meanwhile, the fixer, after seeing Lina's name on a grave, decides to keep a close eye on her. He takes her to meet someone named Marco but stops the car to confront Lina with the grave photo, demanding the truth. Lina becomes overwhelmed and rushes to see her mother for answers. During their conversation, an assassin attacks, overpowering Lina until her mother reveals a hidden gun and shoots the assassin dead. It's then revealed that Lina is not their biological daughter, but a girl they adopted after their real daughter died. Lina quickly devises a plan to sneak her mother out of the hospital by hiding her in a laundry basket. However, Ellie unexpectedly appears, revealing that he's been having her mother's nurses spy on her. This raises serious concerns for Lina. Despite their recent breakup, Ellie senses something amiss, especially upon seeing the bloody laundry basket. However, after finding nothing inside upon inspection, he agrees to give her space for now. After Ellie leaves, Orso arrives and follows Lina, eventually patching her up at her apartment. They share a moment where Lina opens up about her family, leading to an unexpected kiss. Their moment is interrupted by a call from Selma, prompting them to part ways temporarily. On the road, Selma is questioned about her connection to Lina, hinting at a possible familial bond. However, before any answers are given, Lina is sent on her next mission. She finds herself captured and forced into a dangerous game alongside others. Despite being blinded by gas, Lina relies on her senses and advice from Selma to survive. She eventually captures the ringleader, Mud Man, and demands to know the whereabouts of the safe. Meanwhile, Selma interrogates the trans, hoping to uncover valuable information. Mud Man eventually confesses to taking the safe and reveals its location. He also suggests that Lina played a role in her father's death, claiming he feared her. Surprisingly, another safe is discovered at the casino, revealed by the trans to Selma behind the bar. Meanwhile, Mud Man remains tied up and captive on Furie's boat. Selma takes Lina to the casino and presents her as the future Furie. The reception from the crowd is mixed, with some clapping and others giving hesitant looks. Meanwhile, a masked man arrives and hands Mud Man a gun, encouraging him to take action. As Mud Man meets his fate, the others open the safe at the casino, revealing Jelly's head inside. Just as Mud Man appears ready to harm Selma, Lina intervenes and shoots him dead. Now, the history of the Furies, dating back to 1976, reveals a grim fate for Driss, who met a similarly bloody end while behind the wheel. It's the women who have to clean up the mess left behind by the men, and Selma and Lina are figuring out how to do just that. Selma insists that Lina must earn the role of the Furie before she can claim it. To prove herself, Lina seeks the support of Fiam. However, he brushes off her inquiries, claiming he's the smallest godfather and prefers to stay neutral. Meanwhile, Orso, tasked by Parquez, plans to assassinate Lina before she can take over from Selma. Selma and Lina discover that there's more to Fiam's involvement, and they aim to gain his favor to have him as their informant. Fiam communicates cryptically with his men, and they need to track his messengers to find his hideout. Although they locate the hideout easily, it's heavily guarded, making it difficult for them to enter without being noticed. They decide to find another way in. Meanwhile, Lina faces a threat from Keita, who is causing trouble in Ellie's apartment. Keita threatens to frame Ellie with drugs if Lina doesn't comply. As Lina leaves, Ellie follows her to her apartment, unaware that Orso is waiting there to kill her. Upstairs, Lina finds herself in a dangerous situation while Ellie watches from a neighboring building. Amidst their fight, Lina unexpectedly kisses Orso, leading to them having sex. However, their intimate moment is interrupted when Ellie walks in on them. Meanwhile, Selma discovers that the bullets used to kill the jelly are linked to the same group that targeted Olympus. The Fixer warns Selma about Lina's past and urges her to stay vigilant regarding Driss' death. Ellie, searching for Lina's mother at the hospital, instead finds evidence of violence, including bloodstains and a bullet hole. Concerned, he tries to piece together what's happening. That night, Selma and Lina infiltrate Fiam's hideout. Along the way, Lina learns the truth about her birth father. Selma didn't kill him as believed but instead imprisoned him. As they search through Fiam's van, they discover a message indicating an upcoming weapons delivery. Lina takes photos of the evidence, but their plans are disrupted when Keita blackmails her with a video of Ellie's arrest. Distracted, Lina is confronted by the masked man who demands the message she's obtained. Lina stands her ground against the masked man's demands, but he detonates the van, destroying all evidence. It's revealed that Fiam had been secretly recording conversations with the Godfathers over the years, and now, with the van engulfed in flames, the incriminating papers scatter into the streets. The Godfathers gather to pass judgment on Fiam, unanimously voting for his death as a warning to others. That night, Lina meets with Selma and admits she found what she needed but refuses to cooperate further. With the police closing in, Lina plans to search for her father while ensuring the safety of her loved ones. Meanwhile, Selma visits Lina's father in prison, who refuses to cooperate, insisting that the truth will come out. Elsewhere, Parquez stabs Orso for his refusal to cooperate, adding to the escalating drama. With a declaration from the Furie, there's no justice, only punishment in the underworld. Selma, the Furie, has imprisoned her brother and Lina's father, Driss, for now. In the present, Lina visits her dad, and although things are awkward at first, they eventually find their rhythm. They have a lot to catch up on, so they start with events from a week ago. We flash back to Ellie being arrested and thrown into prison. Behind bars, he faces constant threats from other inmates. When Keita sends Lina pictures of Ellie's injuries, she decides to take action. She visits Keita's brother, Thomas, to leverage her influence. Keita agrees to release Ellie in exchange for Lina's cooperation. Once Ellie is freed, he confronts Lina about her relationship with Orso. Lina admits her mistake but assures Ellie of her love for him. They reconcile, with Ellie insisting on honesty moving forward, and they embrace. For days earlier, Lina and Ellie are enjoying their time together, seemingly back on track. However, when Ellie receives a work call and leaves his laptop unattended, Lina sees information about her father's whereabouts, prompting her visit to him. While trying to keep this secret, Lina also juggles her relationships with Ellie and Orso, unaware of his death, a situation bound to cause trouble. 2 days later, Ellie notices Lina's unease and decides to investigate further, secretly ordering a ballistic report on the bullet found in her mother's room. Meanwhile, Lina receives a disturbing message from Orso's phone, showing Parquez burying him. Shaken by the message, Lina becomes paranoid, fearing for her safety. A gunfight erupts at a coffee shop, and Lina manages to eliminate the attackers. However, more assailants appear, leading to a fierce battle. Surprisingly, Selma intervenes to aid Lina, revealing her interest in keeping things intriguing. Driss, learning of this from Lina's recounting, expresses concern and urges her to be cautious, prioritizing his advice over Selma's. During this conversation, Lina reveals details about her upbringing, explaining how the Garib family, who took her in, met a tragic end due to their desire for a better future for her. Embezzling money from the Godfathers and stealing the Bible of the Six was their plan to escape the underworld, aiming to protect themselves and Lina. However, they were betrayed, leading to Selma's violent retaliation against them. This revelation deeply unsettles Lina, especially when Driss discovers that Selma possesses crucial information about the unmarked truck from Fiam's van. Despite Lina's pressing, Selma remains tight-lipped about her secretive clinic visits. However, Lina faces immediate turmoil when she visits Ellie and is confronted about her hidden agenda. In the ensuing chaos, Ellie ends up restrained, and Lina hastily departs. As Lina ponders her predicament in prison, she begins to suspect that the situation is too perfect, sensing a staged scenario. This suspicion is confirmed when it's revealed that Driss, her own father, was the one responsible for Darius's death and has been working against Selma all along. Upon Driss's release from prison, Lina finds herself surrounded by men attempting to apprehend her. Despite the odds, Lina manages to fend them off. Desperate to find Selma before it's too late, Lina's efforts are thwarted as Orso emerges from an unmarked grave, only to be met by Parquez, who keeps him captive. Driss killed Selma. These 3 words alter everything for Lina. With Selma gone, she's thrust into the position of leading the charge against Olympus, initiating a war that will shake the underworld to its core. When Papa learns of Selma's demise, he's devastated. However, Lina refuses to surrender. She rallies him to seek justice and stand against those who have wronged them. As negotiations turn into skirmishes, the conflict spills over to the K brothers' compound, with Driss asserting his authority. Now the new Furie, Lina faces skepticism from figures like the Fixer, who doubts her abilities and intentions. Undeterred, she devises a plan to lure Driss into a trap, leveraging the Duke's resources despite his initial refusal. In a confrontation with the Duke's associates, Lina proves her mettle by identifying the informant collaborating with Driss. Her resolve impresses the Duke, who reluctantly agrees to support her. However, the anticipated confrontation with Driss is interrupted by the arrival of the K brothers, who challenge Lina's authority with brute force and deliver a grim message by leaving behind a dead body. All of this seems to be part of Parquez's plan. He wants to become the new Furie. But being a Furie is dangerous. It always ends in violence. Lina's father didn't want this life for her. Driss, Lina's dad, shows her a video, revealing his concerns. Driss proves he's serious by sending a video to Olympus, showing him killing many people. Olympus discusses how to deal with him. They consider involving Parquez, thinking he's the only one capable of handling Driss. Meanwhile, Driss talks to Lina, urging her not to oppose him. He offers her a chance to join him, but she refuses. Instead, she smashes the bulletproof glass between them. Lina notices scratches on one of Driss' men, making her think Selma might still be alive and sending a message. Without seeing her dead body, Lina believes there's hope. In a later scene, Driss reveals he has Selma captive. But his plan is interrupted when his men report Parquez has killed everyone and is set to become the new Furie under Olympus's orders. It's a cunning scheme, handing power to their foe. As Parquez exits, Lina confronts him, holding him at gunpoint. However, a twist occurs when Orso, now allied with Parquez, attacks Lina. Lina retaliates, injuring Orso, and Parquez dies without revealing any secrets. The Godfathers possess a hidden asset, an armored train packed with wealth. Lina decides to use this to bait Driss and Selma's associates. When Driss arrives, Lina trades the train's key for Selma's whereabouts. Unbeknownst to Driss, Lina has called the police, resulting in both Driss and Selma's arrest. Meanwhile, the Godfathers mobilize to eliminate Lina, and Orso prepares for a new mission targeting the armored train. The scene is chaotic, with the police van overturned and officers lying dead from the gunfire. Despite the danger, the captive Furies, along with Kata and Ellie, refuse to surrender. Under Kata's leadership, they seek refuge in a nearby cafe nestled in the woods. Kata swiftly scribbles a note for the cafe owner, urging him to ride to the police station about 30 miles away to alert them of the situation. With a hopeful glance, the owner mounts his bike and speeds off into the distance. Meanwhile, Kata assesses the cafe's defenses while Driss, fueled by desperation, tries to arm himself with a fork. However, Lina intervenes, preventing a potential escalation. As they struggle to regroup, they realize the radio inside the cafe is of no use, as it's infiltrated by Parquet's forces. Downstairs, Selma, Driss, and Lina remain shackled, unaware of the imminent danger unfolding above. Parquet's men outnumber Ellie and Kata, prompting Driss to urge Lina to join forces with him for a daring escape attempt. With a determined tug, Driss frees Lina from her restraints just as chaos erupts upstairs. As gunfire echoes through the cafe, Lina manages to unlock the handcuffs, while Selma stirs from her unconscious state. Driss seizes the opportunity to break free, aided by Selma's sudden awakening, and holds Parquet's men at gunpoint, including the unexpected arrival of Orso. Before long, the armed guards find themselves under a relentless barrage of bullets from Damocles, swiftly eliminating all of Parquet's men. Gunfire echoes through the building's interior. Selma quickly discerns the situation, recognizing the sniper's deadly accuracy. In a strategic move, she activates a nearby fire extinguisher, creating a diversionary cover for the group to take refuge. While in hiding, Selma briefs the others on the identity of their assailants, international mercenaries led by the notorious Damocles, contracted by Olympus to eliminate them. Despite the perilous situation, Lina manages to sneak downstairs, discreetly concealing a pistol within a stuffed toy hanging on the wall. Gathering on the rooftop, Lina and Selma engage in a tense conversation. Suddenly, a sniper's bullet narrowly misses Lina's head, heightening the urgency of their predicament. Yet, amidst the chaos, they make a crucial discovery, a gas canister, potentially serving as a makeshift bomb. Orso shares grim news: 5 well-equipped men lurk outside, armed with night vision goggles and tactical gear, making their survival even more challenging. A sudden twist unfolds as the cafe owner returns, wearing a bomb vest. He rushes inside, apologizing frantically and revealing he's desperate to shield his family. The bomb detonates, engulfing everything in flames. In the chaos, Orso and Ellie come under direct threat. Facing a split-second decision, Lina shields Orso, while Ellie takes a bullet to the chest. Despite the onslaught, the group gains a slight advantage by detonating the canister at the entrance, unleashing a powerful explosion. However, one assailant persists and breaches the cafe. Orso sustains multiple gunshot wounds, while Lina makes a desperate escape. The assailant, now out of minigun ammunition, draws his pistol but hesitates to fire immediately. Just as he moves forward, he falls victim to a trap, impaled through the stomach in a stroke of unexpected fortune. In the aftermath of the intense gunfight, Kata, despite being wounded, holds a gun to Lina's face, ready to pull the trigger under the guise of resisting arrest. However, before she can act, Ellie intervenes and shoots Kata dead, saving Lina's life. With tensions still high, Lina confronts Selma, leveling accusations of her involvement in her mother's death. Driss's earlier revelation echoes in her mind, fueling her anger. Selma meets Lina's accusatory gaze head-on, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. She confesses that while she should have taken action, she didn't kill Lina's mother. Shockingly, it's revealed that Kahina, Lina's mother, had been an undercover cop for years. However, it was Driss who orchestrated the tragedy, hunting down Kahina's family and committing the heinous act. In the grand finale, Selma sits, puffing on a cigarette, reflecting on the unprecedented threat posed by Driss. As the 4th-generation Furie, she knows the gravity of the situation. Meanwhile, Driss gains ground, fleeing from Damocles' goons, determined to uncover Olympus' deepest secrets. Sporting his enigmatic smile, he boards the armored train with his loyal followers, inching closer to his goal. However, Selma isn't idle either. She struck a deal with Olympus, determined to confront Driss head-on. Alongside Lina, they race to intercept him. But upon arrival, they find chaos. Driss has already made his way through the train, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. Desperate to seize everything for himself, he raids the vaults, tossing gold bars out the window in a frenzied rush. As the fixer anxiously paces, Selma and Lina join forces to tackle Driss' men on the train. With precise coordination, they swiftly eliminate the threats in the first carriage. Selma calculates they have 3 more carriages to clear. To ensure their progress is monitored, they discard one of the bags at the nearest platform, signaling their location to the fixer and their allies. But this is just the initial skirmish. Selma reminds Lina to remain composed and focused as they prepare for the next phase of their mission. Meanwhile, Driss presses on, coercing one of his men to input the access code into the system. Yet, despite gaining partial access, Driss's impatience boils over, leading him to ruthlessly dispatch the hapless operative in a fit of frustration. Selma and Lina stumble upon a bomb aboard the train, realizing they must deactivate it swiftly to prevent catastrophe. Despite her trembling hands, Selma bravely volunteers for the task. Meanwhile, a flashback reveals Ellie's unexpected visit to Orso at the clinic earlier in the day. After a heated altercation, Ellie and Orso reluctantly join forces to divert the train away from Paris. Their efforts lead them to the control room, where they confront a group of workers. In a swift and unseen skirmish, they overpower the workers and confront George, the ringleader, who guides them to the monitors. As Selma grapples with disarming the bomb, inadvertently speeding up the timer, Lina takes on a new wave of adversaries inside a carriage filled with valuable paintings. Meanwhile, George excitedly locates the train on the monitors, only to realize it's a decommissioned one. The trio successfully alters the train's course, while Lina confronts Driss in the carriage housing the computers. Amid flickering lights, Lina finds herself surrounded by 5 assailants. Rather than engaging in physical combat, she ingeniously triggers the alarms with a lighter and navigates through the oxygen duct to safety, leaving her foes incapacitated by lack of oxygen. Unfortunately, the data transfer completes successfully, allowing Driss to slip away while leaving behind the corpses of the other 5 men. Meanwhile, Lina disembarks from the train after it is diverted, initiating a chase with Driss. Thankfully, Selma successfully cuts the right wire and defuses the bomb, averting a potential catastrophe. As Lina pursues Driss, he locks himself into a closet and manages to evade capture. However, he leaves behind a sinister surprise for Selma on the carriage, resulting in cuts across her face. With Driss still at large, Selma locates him sitting on a bench by the River Seine. Concurrently, she collaborates with Mudman and Fixer to eliminate Driss' remaining associates. In a tense confrontation, Driss reveals to Selma that she has portrayed him as a monster for the past 25 years. Shockingly, it is revealed that Selma orchestrated the massacre of Kahina's family and framed Driss for the crime. Although Driss acknowledges his own culpability, he insists that Selma must face consequences for her actions. As Lina catches up to them, Driss reveals that he has been wounded and implores Lina to keep their encounter a secret, urging Selma to be the one to end his life. Succumbing to Driss' plea, Selma reluctantly pulls the trigger, bringing an end to the long-standing feud. Lina persists in her curiosity about Driss' final words to Selma, but Selma remains tight-lipped. Despite Lina's insistence, Selma reminds her that they are both currently targets with bounties on their heads, leaving them with limited options for escape. Meanwhile, the unexpected alliance between Orso and Ellie concludes as they part ways. Although Ellie rejects Orso's offered handshake, there appears to be a tentative ceasefire between them. As Lina prepares to depart, she pays one last visit to her mother to bid farewell. Together, they arrive before the Godfathers, providing context to the earlier voiceover and imagery of Selma approaching them. However, they are met with a shocking revelation: each of the Godfathers is already deceased. Emerging from the shadows are armed soldiers, signaling the endgame for Lina and Selma. Their precarious situation escalates when a new figure, Damocles, arrives on the scene, demanding to know their allegiance, just before the screen fades to black, leaving their fate uncertain.
Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.